All right, so hopefully you've watched a couple of the videos before this. We created our geometric design. I created mine in Photoshop. You could create yours in a sketchbook. I also created some color models in Photoshop. Obviously in your sketchbook, you could do the same thing. So the first thing we need to do is get an 8-inch square on here. I'll be fast forwarding through some of this stuff so that we keep the video as short as possible, but the paper is 14. So I'm gonna make a mark at 7, right? And so I get the center, just double check. Okay, that's the center. And then I'll be measuring 4 inches up from that, right? 4 inches there and 4 inches there. And that should give me, well, I've got, it'd be nice if I measured correctly. There we go. So good thing to double check, you know? So the next thing I do is I measure just how far that is from the edge, and it's about 3. So all I need are a couple of marks to get a nice straight line, right? Because we want this to be square. All right, so we want this thing to be, parallel to the edge, correct? And let's see, so if we go down, this isn't gonna be perfectly 8 inches, but it's gonna be close enough. So this one's, oddly, this one's 2 3/4. So whatever. Life's too short to worry about it. As long as it comes out square, that's all I care about. And it's approximately 8 inches. So there's that. I double check my measurement, it's 8. Now we need the, we need to measure out the edges, right? And this is 11 by 17. What's half of 17? 8.5. So we measure in 8.5. Okay, and I measure out 4 from that, and I measure out 4 from that, and that should give me the 8. And so that's about 4 1/4. So I need another 4 1/4 here. And so I'm gonna make my lines there. I just want to double check and make sure. I don't want this to be skewed. You know, you're gonna spend a lot of time on this, so you don't want to spend, several hours on this and then find out that you don't have a square, right? So we're gonna measure 4 over. And what is that one? That's about 4 1/2. For some reason I'm off. I'm gonna say that the paper's cut incorrectly. That's gotta be it. It can't be my measuring. Okay. So this should give me an 8-inch square. I don't know if you can see it very well there, but, and I am double checking, I've got, this is a little bit more than 8. This is 8 1/16. 8 1/16. This is 8. And this is 8. So I'm actually going to shorten this by 1/16 because I want it to be as close to 8 square as possible. All right. Now, next, we need to transfer this design onto that. And how do we do that? I'm not worried too much about this as far as it being exact. I can see I come up here, I could, if I wanted to, I could go, okay, I'm gonna come up, 2 1/4 inches, and I'm gonna go over, 2 1/4 inches. So, if I wanted to, I could make it pretty exact. I mean, I could go here, I could go here, and there's my first line. All right. Now I'm going to eyeball it. This is a vertical going this way. So basically what I'm going to be doing is transferring this. I'll probably fast forward through this unless I have anything interesting to say. So we're getting set up here. I'll probably fast forward through a lot of this because we already know the drill from the value scales. But just to, like some of the basics, you can see I've got my model here. I'm going to start with a grayish yellow and then work my way around. And we're using this yellow. It might not be as beautiful as the yellow that I've got in Photoshop. But the first thing I did is, you know, I taped it off. You know, I was going to try this technique of where, oh boy, this brush is stiff. It didn't get washed out very good. I was going to try this technique where you don't try to paint up against, you never try to paint line against line, right? You kind of just go over the line, and then when you're coming up on this side, you make a nice line. So, and that way you save yourself a lot of work, because instead of trying to excruciatingly paint in this perfect line here and then do the same thing over here, you know, you kind of going rough on this side and then smooth on the other. But since we're using tape, I don't think I'll do that. I mean, it seems like it would make sense to maybe go over the line a little bit, because that way I can tape over that. I guess the point is I don't want to have any of the white of the paper coming through where I do this, right? So let me mix some paint and tape this off, and we'll just try to see this speeded up, this whole process. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing, I wish I would have sprung for thicker Bristol board. I do notice with the application of the thinned out paint, I'm doing multiple layers on this to keep from getting that streaky look I had on my value scales. I am getting some warpage. I much prefer to paint on board or canvas or something very, you know, like illustration board. We'll see if this, you know, I can always take this and put some heavy books on it and let it compress overnight. But and the other thing is, you know, I am using a little bit more water this time. I'm putting down a thicker coat and then drying and putting down another coat. I'm going to try to get it a better quality finish this time. All right, so you can see here, we've got it all covered. It didn't come out anything like what I had in Photoshop because of the colors. I don't really like bright yellow. I mean, I like it against black, but the way I'm used to painting in my own painting is I would go over this with sandpaper. I'd rough it up. I'd come in, you know, layer things. This very flat kind of geometry is a little bit different. So rolling with the punches here, you know, what I'm looking for is unity and focal points. And I'm kind of, I don't like this, the way this yellow is working in this composition. I'm not wild about this yellow either, but I don't mind the black and the yellow here. I don't mind these guys here. These are okay. So I guess the lesson is I would, if I wasn't trying to bang this out for a tutorial, I would live with it. I'd let it rest. I'd go have a cup of coffee. If I had enough time, I'd come back to it the next day and not rush it, and, you know, be willing to go over colors I didn't like, because it's pretty easy to tape it off. And what you find in the fine arts, what you learn is that it builds up a kind of a feeling of history. Even, you might not be able to see it, but you sense it in the design. So, the question here for me is just what color do I want to come in on this yellow with? And I think I'm going to go over it with a light color. We do want not just 8 different shapes, but 8 different colors on this. So keep that in mind as well. Not colors, excuse me. We want 8 different variations of the same color. So we want 8 different tints, tones, and shades. As we progress in the course, we will get up, and it's kind of scary to think about it, we'll get up to the point to where we can actually start mixing, the different colors. And, with that freedom comes great responsibility. Does that look nice enough? I want to make sure that it's different enough than this. I tried. So let's see. I get you get the sense now of how this goes. I'm gonna dry this and untape it, and we'll see how it looks. All right, so I basically touched it up, and I'm done for now. There's things that are not working for me in this design. I'm not sure about this little piece over here. There's no way really for me to tell until I take the tape off, and then I can reevaluate. I touched up some areas, but this was a good, I don't know, well, this was over an hour. Very time consuming, but I would expect this design to take far more than an hour. I would think that you would spend a lot more time on it. Just as I would sleep on it and look at this and figure out what it is that's bothering me, what I can do, whether I need more contrast, whether I need more shapes, maybe another shape in here. I might need to draw, another triangle here that relates to this dark here, maybe a slightly lighter, a dark gray or something, but that should give you an idea of what it takes, the push and the pull, and, the process. So now, as far as documenting this, I haven't had great success photographing this work. Scanning acrylic, limited success. I can touch it up in Photoshop, but I wouldn't expect you to be able to. So we have to set the standards for what you guys can do. So, if it was me, I can take it in and I can lighten and I can get rid of lines and I can touch things up. But it looks a lot better. It looks a lot better with that side tape off. So that's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing your own designs. Just make sure, again, that you have at least 8 shapes, many more if you want. Although more isn't necessarily better. And make sure that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 colors there. Not colors. 9 shades, tints, tones, and shades of yellow.